Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rayo and Tech. I hope that everyone is doing well. Today I have my last lab assignment for my CYB 610 course. This is the ethical penetration testing course. A lot of fun, super helpful. Pretty much in this lab, we were pretty much challenged with our hacking skills to kind of like perform an ethical like risk assessment. So this is my type of risk assessment, which I have with some screenshots. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun today with some of the screenshots I got to show you and like some of the techniques. If you guys like the channel, like, comment, subscribe. Other than that, let's get on with it. Let's go. So, first things first is in terms of risk assessments, we need to understand that these have to be planned, organized, and also performed. And so, for this lab, we were conducted to use our virtual machine. And so, I used the Metasploit virtual machine, which I had on my VirtualBox, and I also used the Kali Linux machine as well. So, using the mixture of both of those, pretty much that was how I conducted that. That was going to be my scope of what I wanted for the penetration test, because I just wanted, in terms of the objective, is to conduct an actual penetration test, also explain it and see how it's organized. In terms of the rules of engagement, this is very important because it lets you know what you can and cannot do. So since it's Red Hat testing, I have to make sure that I'm going in with no information, but being able to try to see if I can extract information without pulling out too much sensitive information. In terms of legal and ethical considerations, I'm following the CVSS, which is the Common Vulnerability Scoring System. Very nice type of index you can see for different types of vulnerabilities which can occur. So that's free. Just look at that in terms of what you can look at to stay up to date with stuff. GDPR is pretty much the European policy of data security, and the ISO 27001, I believe that's the risk management policy. So it kind of works well within penetration testing. Also, the tools which are being used in terms of the scans are like Nmap, the Nessus tool, Nikito, Metasploitable, and OWASP, which is Zap. So this is going to be a lot of fun. Let me show you guys how we do this. In terms of failing in the procedure, so the best thing to do is one, conduct penetration testing in like an ethical environment because it makes it easier to kind of control it. If you have like a timeline with stakeholders, being able to have a communication plan is very important because being able to save time after the recovery of what needs to happen post procedure would be able to keep them on the loop of what happens. And so if you need to like detect anything more and kind of like isolate it out from like the other network, it would make it easier and it wouldn't slow down operations. Lastly, especially ensuring proper documentation and like logging is very essential, because you can look at these as like reference guides to kind of see what you can do to make sure you handle any of these failures in the procedure. So that's a little disclaimer of how we do that. So we're going to talk about the benefits of penetration testing before we get on to the actual lab. So I got a quote here from Al Shelby. It's a 2018 quote. Pretty much, penetration testing is conducted to evaluate the security of IT infrastructure by safely exposing its vulnerabilities. It also helps in assessing the efficiency of the defense mechanism, tools, and policy in place. Penetration testing is conducted to regularly and identify risk and manage them to achieve higher standards, security standards. So pretty much what that means is that not only are companies staying in compliance, this is a very grateful tool to help make sure that the security is safe within like the infrastructure of these corporations, because you need to make sure that not only physical security is safe, data and digital security is safe as well. So penetration testing is a very good way of testing that security actively. And so we see that there's a lot of things like audits, which are used where they're just like, hey, we got an audit. And with this audit, what we're going to do is we're going to be able to test your security like monthly. So you can kind of like have those type of policies, which is very good for companies to make sure that they stay within security and like stay up on their security. First one is my Nmap screenshot. So I'll just keep it quick here. Pretty much what I was able to do was get the IP address of the virtual machine, which was my Metasploitable virtual machine. I had them both running at the same time. I got the IP address, and then from there I ran an Nmap scan. And what that did was just let me know if the host was actually up, and then also just gave me like a quick little scan report of it at the same time. So the next scan after that is the Nikito scan. So when you run the Nikito scan, usually you just like put the hyperlink and then the IP address. I ran it, and even though the results popped up, there's you can do like different types of scans. You can see like previously in my example listed above, like doing that type of scan would be able to show you the open ports which are active as well as like the different IP addresses which are within the range. In addition from that, you can do another type of like aggressive scan where it could be able to let you know if there's any like potential vulnerabilities which could occur. And so that's the benefit of using the Nikito scan tool, because being able to use that is very beneficial. So you kind of see how I used it in like my penetration test, even though it didn't pop up. The fact that I was still able to scan and still test that network is beneficial. So you can use that in terms of like reconnaissance in a sense. OWASP. So this is the next tool which I've mentioned. So it was really cool. So with this one, all I had to do was just type in zap proxy in the command line. It brought up the OS operating like tool, and pretty much this is like an open source type of vulnerability scanner, which is really nice. So it can also be able to like do like an automated scan. So I was able to get the metasploitable IP address, plug it into the automated scan, and then from there, pretty much test it out. And so that was really nice because being able to do that, I was able to get like a scan report, and then it lets me know what vulnerabilities are there. The next one is the Nessus scan. So Nessus is a really nice tool because it lets you know the current active vulnerabilities within the actual system. And so what I did was I created its own subcategory for the first scan, which was a vulnerability scan. From there, what I did was make sure I put the IP address, put the conditions in, run the scan, and it lets me know. If you look on the top where this little circle is over here, it lets you know like the detection level of what is needing to be done, which is medium, low, and high in terms of priority. And so, blessed, we're on low for now. So it's best to just make sure you always use this within your networks just to make sure everything is secure and safe. So, in terms of conducting like my risk assessment of this, the best countermeasures to mitigate any vulnerabilities. So one of the vulnerabilities which I saw in mine was it was talking about if you need to have input validation and error handling, it's very beneficial. So because this is very good against SQL injection attacks, because being able to have this type of error handling would be able to prevent any sensitive information to be exploited out unintentionally. In addition to that, so what's great besides using error handling, input validation is also proper patch management, as well as updating the software to ensure the latest protection and security. So in addition to that, you have encryption tools like data masking, which is very beneficial because it makes sure that no one intercepts any information, but it also makes sure that security is safe and better overall for everyone. So how does my strategy reduce risk and harden my system at the same time? So for me, this helps reduce risk because it helps make sure that the system is not only hardened but it's also protected. So with different tools as like IDSs and IPSs, intrusion detection and intrusion prevention systems, this is very beneficial because these can be different type of active tools used for monitoring and surveillance, and also like detection at the same time. So being able to have like alerts, it makes it a lot easier. So you combine that with like a tool like a SOAR, which is security. I think it's security operation automated response. That might not be the full definition, but anyways, a SOAR is a type of system. When you use it, what's really cool about it is that it automatically gives you a response. And so if you pair that with something like an intrusion detection system, where it's like, hey, we detect someone is trying to take information out of the network, pair that up with a SOAR and it gives you an automatic response, it'll help boost security. So that's very nice, especially seeing how that can be used in risk assessments. Lastly, in addition to that, I've mentioned earlier of using security audits because these are very beneficial because this helps you make sure that when you use these security audits, you're able to not only stay within compliance, but you're also able to like stay active on what needs to be secured within the organization. Here's my second Metasploitable screenshot. I ran another scan on it by using like my MS credentials, and from based off of the first results of the scan, I was able to adjust a couple themes, and then I ran the scan again, And what was nice about this was that there were less errors this time. So from that, like one of the biggest things was like the input validation. So fixing like a line of code is very beneficial. So you see this is very like a useful tool in terms of using it. Let's say for like web development. So let's say if you have a web developer who needs to make sure that their database is secure as well as the input validation is secure on the front end, being able to have some sort of vulnerability scanner to test that IP address just to make sure that there's no vulnerabilities, and if there are, those can be patched and not breach any sensitive information is very important. So, why I chose to implement these changes. So, explain the changes why I chose to implement. Pretty much what I did, like I said, was just a couple lines of code. In terms of the HTML type of like element of what I'm referring to. Usually, in terms of cost, if it's like a big project, it usually costs more, but sometimes it doesn't cost as much. In terms of criticality, let's say if it was like a big data loss, this would definitely cost more because it'll take more resources to take care and fix the issue or like the breach which has occurred. And so, in terms of my expected results differed from my actual results, I didn't really know what to expect because usually when you do scans, you don't really know much. You pray for the best. And so what was nice is that seeing that after doing like a couple lines of fixing of code, seeing how my results got better, it kind of shows that like you have to actively put work into the system of securing, and it should be able to spit it back for you in a positive way. And so some lessons I've learned from hardening my system is that it's very beneficial to harden your system, to harden it well, because you can be able to use this as a type of gift and be able to help others as well. And so it's such a blessing being able to kind of see how hardening a system, it takes time, but there's different levels and different layers of complexity of it at the same time. Super beneficial, super awesome. That's pretty much why I chose to implement the changes. That's my reference, which I've used. The Shelby 2018, very nice. Other than that, that is my presentation. Thank you guys so much for staying and like enjoying the channel. It's such a blessing being able to even put content up. But yeah, I'm gonna be probably posting more videos. Probably start doing some more new things. Looking forward to it. If you guys want, like, comment, subscribe. Other than that, you guys stay blessed, stay amazing. Rayo and Tech out. Peace out, y'all.